Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named ChoiceAd in the Relationship Advice subreddit. The post is titled, I, 24F, cheated on my 26M husband out of spite. For a quick background, my husband and I were online friends since we were early teens. We met on a video game, and when I could no longer play as much anymore, we caught up through text. We always cared for each other and meant a lot to each other, or at least I think. I couldn't date him for religious and family reasons, but we still remained friends. In 2021, I decided I don't care what my family thinks anymore and that I'm old enough to make my own decisions, and I began dating him. It was long distance as he was still in the army. We were both so happy to be dating each other, but he had a problematic past and mine was more stable. 2 months in, he told me about a crazy ex he recently broke up with, which I felt was important to tell me earlier. Some things were happening and I lost trust in him. Our relationship was shaky, but I held on because I had faith in him. I didn't think he'd do anything to hurt me, and it turns out she was genuinely crazy as she still tries to bother him to this day. Anyway, in the mix of me not trusting him and not being sure if I should continue things with him, his work got busier and I thought he was avoiding me because I did not trust him. Anyway, he did reassure me it would get better, and it's just that they're getting ready for deployment. During that time, also, he told me about this girl that he talked to help her through her recent trauma. I thought it was nice of him as he helps his friends out too when they're going through a hard time. Anyway, I warned him because after he let her vent a few times, she would always try coming into his barracks room, knocking on the door, etc. He told her he is dating me, and I warned him to keep his distance because she will find her way to him. He kept rejecting her advances to come in. Later on, I told him he needs to set even more boundaries, otherwise it will escalate, because she's not understanding. Anyway, it became a problem, and eventually he tells me he told her not to talk to him again and she stopped. I told him all he needed to do was set boundaries. He told me he didn't let her into his room and he thought that was enough, that he really tried. Anyway, months later his team deployed and he had more time for me as promised. Again, time was never a problem to me, it's just the way the relationship started off with the ex. I didn't trust him. Anyway, every few months I'd get a random thought that something didn't add up around that time, and what if he had cheated on me? I tried to get him to talk or say anything. I told him if he comes clean, maybe I'll forgive him and let it go. Anyway, a lot of gaslighting was done to me, but I eventually believed he didn't do anything, especially since we were friends for so long. Somehow, his siblings got sucked into the drama and thought I was crazy for even thinking something happened, even my own sister. When he got out of the army, we got to meet and have our dates. It was the best, everything felt right with him, everything was super exciting, and I felt safe around him. In December 2023, we got married and moved in together. My parents liked him and they came around. He has treated me very well and we get along great. It feels like we are partners and best friends. He has done so much for me since we've been dating and married. He and I are both growing together. He's starting school and doing things he never imagined. I'm finishing school up and I'm so excited for him to be there with me when I graduate and me to be there for him in his first years of college. In May, the thought popped up in my head again. I couldn't help but think about it. I asked him again, same gaslighting. He even asked an army friend for me if he dated her that was a friend of hers too. He said no. Then a few days later, she messaged me saying I'm being manipulated and they did briefly date. I was shocked, but not. I knew we were long distance and our relationship was shaky at the time. I was telling him I don't trust him and I might leave him. I was accusing him of a lot of things, such as still having feelings for his crazy ex that cheated on him. I didn't handle things well, but he didn't inform me of things as early as he should have, and that caused me to lose trust and act so stupidly and toxic. It was also my first serious long relationship. The first guy I ever decided to trust and someone I knew I wanted to be with in the future. He means a lot to me. I'm not one to give somebody my heart at the beginning and I always proceed relationships with caution. But with him, because we were best friends, I lent my heart out early and I got disappointed. Anyway, after the girl proved it to me, I confronted him. He told me everything he recalls they did. He even accepted some of her attempts to have sex about a couple times and he got soft apparently and didn't finish. He and I both think he didn't set boundaries and her consistency got to him. He didn't use it as an excuse, but we tried to understand factors as we were discussing it. There is clearly no excuse, as I even warned him too, and he eventually started letting her into his room and hid it from me. I have obviously been feeling betrayed. I'm more mad at the fact that he hid it from me even right before and after marriage and intended on forever. He knows I would have left him. I told him the few girls he dated put him through hell, and the moment I came in and all I did was care for him and be there for him, he put all his baggage and past problems onto me. I did not deserve this at all. I didn't do a single thing near that nature, even though I developed feelings for someone while I was with him too. Sorry if I'm ranting for so long, and if it's stretched out. I'm bad at writing stories and I'm trying to condense it, but it's a lot more than what I'm saying. Anyway, I think it was a weird situation. I don't think he's a genuine cheater, but for at least a year, I think he's a walking risk still. I shouldn't let my guard down. Again, I care about him a lot and he's grown with me since we've dated. I think he's sincerely in a different place now that we actually get to be together in person and now that more time has passed. I believe he was in a darker place before, but I'm still grieving sometimes over what he did to me. I've been upset that I sincerely was honest to him all the time and never did anything to betray him, yet he didn't take us fully seriously and gave it up to someone who was consistent. Recently, I messaged a few random guys pictures of my body online and flirted with them. This is the most promiscuous behavior I've ever done outside my husband. I thought I'd feel in control and get even. I never wanted to hurt him, but at the same time I did. I wanted a reaction from him. Even though I know he loves me, I told him today that I cheated. He is clearly hurt and I regret doing it. Fire with Fire wasn't as good as it seemed in the heat of the moment. I really care for him and I feel horrible for what I've done, even though I don't think it was nearly as awful as what he did to me. Anyway, he says he understands why and he will get over it. As my actions have shown, I guess I'm still needing time to heal and to see if I really should stay with him. I don't know why I typed this all, maybe for validation or advice. Or maybe for someone to call me an asshole or stupid. I don't know. Thanks for listening. I'm sorry for the long page. TLDR, my husband gaslighted me into believing he didn't cheat on me when we were LDR dating. Years passed, and after 6 months of marriage, I figured out through the girl. So I decided to cheat on him out of spite through a couple random online chats, and I regret it. I also told him what I did. User Specialist Sun said, your marriage started with him cheating on you, then lying to you. How can you recover from this? He probably cheated more than you realize, and he will continue. Dump him while you can. It's not too late to find a correct partner. Also, did you really cheat or did you stop at flirting with internet strangers? Because what he did and what you did are not on the same level. User Remain said, I don't know, it seems like he got to really experience more in life and grow while you held out for him. You come off as really stunted. Who are you even outside of the relationship? It really seems like a toxic dynamic where you clearly just never trusted him. You wanted a fairy tale, so you ignored your gut feeling only for it to have followed you all this time. I genuinely think that he just isn't the one for you. He's practice, a lesson. He didn't lie just one time. You constantly asked him and he lied over the phone and to your face quite easily. And he lied every day for years, taking away your choice. He's probably still lying about the details. There are likely other situations you don't even know about. If he said, hey, I killed someone, but I had a messy life. Would that be okay? Where do you draw the line? A hard life isn't an excuse to be a shit person. Also, there are no winners when you degrade yourself. The best revenge isn't stooping to their level, it's holding them accountable. Consequences. His consequence is either losing you or giving you a reason to stay. You determine what that entails. You can start with marriage and individual counseling, but I honestly feel you need to be on your own to grow, mature, and experience life. You should be with someone who makes you better, not whatever this is. He cheated. That makes him a genuine cheater. I'm honestly not sure what kind of answer OP was expecting making this post. It's almost like these two were made for each other. They're both pretty shitty people. Not that I think it would have worked, but OP definitely should have made more of an effort to confront her husband, rather than revenge cheat on him. Now, I'm okay with someone looking for revenge, but not to your own detriment. What OP did just felt like a net negative. And just to make sure it's clear, I think OP's husband was an absolute piece of shit. I don't want to make it seem like I'm picking one side over the other here. I don't really like either of these people. This next story was made by a throwaway account in the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "I'm about to ruin my best friend's life. I don't feel remorse. My soon-to-be ex-best friend and I have been friends since middle school. We know everything about each other. Our families are basically one big family now. You get the idea. Like I said, we tell each other everything. Recently, she came to me telling me she's been having an affair for about 4 months with her superior at her new job. She told me, not out of guilt, but to brag about the dream vacation she's going on with her AP, disguised as a work trip. She asked me to cover for her if her husband asks if we've been in contact, because she's planning on going black for that week, so he would have no way of finding out. Side note, we've both known her husband since high school. They are high school lovers, so they've been together for almost 15 years. Her husband is one of the most honest, hardworking, genuine people I know. He of course took everything she said about working late and the business trip at face value because he trusts her more than he trusts himself. I told her I would not be covering for her and to get out of my house because I couldn't even look at her right now. Later, I told my husband everything that happened and he was just as shocked and disgusted. Her husband is basically his best friend now, so he of course has a lot of loyalty to him as well. My husband pointed out something I didn't even think of: our security camera. It caught everything. We plan on going to her husband tonight with the proof. It will be up to him to do what he wishes with it, but he deserves to know. Secondly, we're taking this to her job. As far as I know, fraternization of any kind is prohibited at her workplace. She was also promoted once by this same supervisor, so this could be seen as favoritism. Our guess is that they will both be fired. Finally, I'm going to send a snippet of her admitting the affair to all of her family, including mine. As I said, our families are very intertwined, so I will easily be able to contact the majority of her family. I'm not going to give her a chance to spin this against me or her husband. Some may think this is harsh, but I wholeheartedly disagree with what she's doing. ETA. I decided to take the advice of some of the commenters and leave it up to her STBX to decide to go nuclear or not. As some of you pointed out, he may decide to stay with her, and going nuclear would ruin his life in turn. The other reason is going nuclear and making her lose her job could affect the outcome of the divorce. We still plan to tell him, but we have decided against the other two options for now. I'm going to let STBX know if she tries to pin this on either of us or tells anyone a single lie. I will do a 180 and go nuclear. I will not be seen as a villain for a situation I didn't even ask to be in the first place. She was the one who thought it would be smart to tell her monogamous friend with traditional values that she's cheating on her spouse. She can lie in her bed. Update, everyone involved: Alyssa, my best friend; Noah, her husband. I decided to take the advice of a few people and reach out to Alyssa before I went to her husband. I recorded the conversation and let her know I was for my safety. She seemed still extremely nonchalant about the whole thing. I told her I was worried for her, and even for her, this was very out of character behavior. Long story short, she felt very weak and unbalanced in her marriage to Noah. For context, Noah went to a trade school and makes very good money, while up until her promotion, Alyssa was making slightly more than minimum wage. She has recently been reading up on some anti-traditional values, and the women in those forums attacked her for making less than her husband. She then explained that she noticed her supervisor was trying to flirt with her, and her internet friends told her to run with it and use him to get higher up. She of course did, but admitted she'd become emotionally attached to him as well. All in all, she admitted she doesn't really regret the affair because it helped with her career and she found love. I told her she had the option to tell Noah the truth before me, but hubby and I were coming over tonight with the video of her admitting the affair, so she wouldn't be able to sway it in her favor. Again, she very nonchalantly said okay and hung up on me. I don't know what the heck is going on. I can't tell if she's having some sort of psychosis or she's literally just so detached from her marriage that she doesn't care what happens. Hubby and I still plan on going to Noah tonight, but I'm honestly intrigued to see what she says to him, if she says anything at all. About 2 days later, OP gave us an update. Apologized for not having time last night. We were obviously busy. I took a lot of people's advice and decided not to go nuclear. As many people said, at the end of the day, it's not my circus. The decision should be left up to the wronged party, and that is Noah. I also decided to reach out to Alyssa before telling Noah and decided to give her a chance to confess to Noah herself. After I talked to her, I was legit thinking about reaching out to her parents about medical help because she was so unbothered and so non-remorseful about the affair that I thought she was having some sort of mental break or psychosis. Yeah, Alyssa's always been the kind to find loopholes or ways ahead, but cheating on your spouse of almost 2 decades for financial gain, It's not normal. If you didn't see my small update, the whole reason Alyssa started the affair was to get the promotion at work. It evolved into an emotional affair eventually though. She admitted that her new friends from some feminism forums and Facebook groups told her she wasn't as valuable if she was making significantly less than her spouse. Something I learned she's been more insecure about than she's been telling people. They also told her that using a man isn't cheating as long as there's no emotional attachment. She's just being a girl boss. She admitted she couldn't separate her feelings from the intimate aspect and started going on regular dates and vacations, and eventually they started calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend. The AP knows she's married but was told they were on the verge of separation. My hubby and I arrived at Noah and Alyssa's with some booze and some dinner, and by the time we were there, Noah had already gone through a bottle of wine. Surprisingly, Alyssa did confess to Noah about the affair. He told us it was extremely non-apologetic though. She sat him down and told him that she wasn't going on a business trip this week, she was going on a vacation with her boyfriend. Noah, being the clueless and loyal person he is, thought she meant to say husband, and was so excited. He asked if they're going to Italy like they planned for, and Alyssa just stared at him. She repeated, "with my boyfriend." It took a few minutes, but it finally sunk in. He told us it wasn't pretty after that and said he embarrassingly got on his knees and begged her to fix everything. She yelled for a bit but then just stonewalled him again. She was already packed to leave and just left him there sobbing. She turned off her location and we have no idea where she went. We assume she went to her AP's house because if she had gone home with 2 suitcases, her mother would have reached out to Noah immediately. She sees him as a son. We sat down with Noah and said we had video and audio proof of Alyssa exposing and explaining the affair, and we will send them to him in case he needs them. I explained to him that in a moment of blind rage, I was planning on going scorched earth and telling everyone, but once I calmed down and looked at this rationally, I realized that wasn't the right thing to do. The only person going full nuclear would hurt was him, because Alyssa obviously doesn't care anymore. As I suspected, the idea of reconciliation is still on his mind, but he doesn't see it happening. In order to reconcile, both parties must admit fault and want to reconcile. Alyssa clearly doesn't. We've gotten him in contact with a friend of my hubby who's agreed to help him pro bono until the divorce shows results. I can tell he's still hesitant about going forward with divorce, but he knows he also can't force Alyssa to stay. As comments have suggested, this is where we bow out. We're obviously going to continue to support Noah, but it's not our situation to handle. It's his. If there are any future updates, I'll of course ask Noah first, but you'll be the second to know. Thanks for being so supportive and helpful. It made me realize that how Noah handles his life and his marriage is his responsibility, not mine. ETA. I wanted to clear up some questions from the last post that I didn't really answer in the update. What did Alyssa ever do to you that made you want to go so nuclear? Honestly, nothing in particular. Like I said, for the past few years, our friendship has been for convenience at its best. We've basically been friends because we know each other so well and we have at least one friend. Alyssa has always had qualities I don't agree with, but who doesn't? I think it was just the whole situation that made my blood boil, especially since Alyssa has always been disgusted by cheaters. She was the kind of person to cut dozens of people out of her life if it meant not supporting someone's infidelity. So for her to make a complete 180 and not even have guilt for it, it just grinds my gears. That's part of the reason I think she's having some sort of mental breakdown. Not only is it hypocritical, it's extremely out of character, even for her. Are you in love with Noah? Of course not. Singing someone's praises and trying to portray that they're a genuine and good person doesn't automatically mean you want to sleep with them. Our relationship has been nothing more than platonic for the entire time I've known him because he loved Alyssa, and I loved their happiness. I love my husband and literally only ever saw Noah like a brother. Logic, people.